The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. CJAD 800 presents Passion with sex therapist Dr. Laurie Betito. To reach Dr. Laurie, call 514-790-0800. Star Talk, a free call on Bell Mobility, and 1-800-491-CJAD. Now, here's Dr. Laurie.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships tonight. Oh, I'm so happy because it is the Passion View, just like the View on TV. Every month, I invite 3 female friends, my girlfriends, to hang with me and discuss a bunch of different and relevant topics. You whispering with each other already?
No, never. No.
Stop that now.
Maybe.
This month we have Maya, Danya, and Sandra, who are all friends, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things. So, of course, you too, the listener, can call in anytime if you want to ask the ladies their opinion, get some male perspective. How many times do we get guys calling us, right?
All the time.
Asking, what do you girls think about this? Just so they can have that female perspective. More than just me, but 4 of us right here. And, so 514-790-0800. You can text at 514-800. One of our guests tonight is a good friend of mine, Sandra Reich, and her book is coming out. I want to talk about your book because it's coming out next week, and we're all involved, and we're all going to be at this launch, and it's all a lot of fun. And maybe we can even talk about this whole topic about female empowerment. So first of all, tell us about the book, Sandra.
Okay, the book's name is How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman, because as we know in fairy tales, a lot of times the whole theme is that there's a damsel in distress and her happiness starts when a prince rescues her. So we're a bit concerned about that for women because it seems to get women in trouble. And we're talking a lot about the dance between men and women in relationships and the traps that women fall into, the victim, the martyr, the caretaker, and the different biology between men and women and how to get out of those difficult situations. We're still seeing women fall into those situations often, and it doesn't affect the love life so well.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Probably. The love life and sex and how it impacts that. I wonder how often, to me, when I think of female empowerment or women empowerment, I think of women who have the ability, or not just the ability, but the feeling like I can do this, and I can be independent. I don't have to be in a position of need. I can want, but I don't have to be in a position of need or needing somebody else to support me or what have you. So I don't know how you guys think about how would you define female empowerment? And I'm only asking that because we hear that word a lot.
Yeah.
Now, empowered women, you even started a company, Empowered Women. So I want to hear some of your input, ladies.
Is there a direct tie in your experience between the notion of a female empowerment and female or rather feminism? Because it sounds like the way you're describing it, it sounds almost like the
feminism
to a certain degree, which has a lot of its own negative connotations.
So is that a different name that we're now using? Female empowerment is now the old feminist movement?
No, I think feminism is much more of an extreme than being empowered. I think being empowered is being able to wake up every day and believing in yourself and just, attacking another day and doing what you got to do.
And believing in your worth.
And don't feel sorry for yourself. And I read this great quote. It said, every day is not a good day, but there's always something good in every day. So it's just basic. Be good, be kind, be honest, believe in yourself, do what you got to do. And if things don't work out, okay, tomorrow's another day. I woke up breathing. Okay, I have opportunities. And I think it's just simple and basic.
That's a very positive attitude.
Yeah, I think it's just simple and basic. And then having that positivity and building your self-confidence like that empowers you.
That's male or female, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's definitely
it's just
both.
human, right? It's just human.
It's definitely both. It's just where we start to stumble is if we think that all that happiness can only happen once we meet that man. And then
that's a problem for a lot of women.
Story.
I agree.
That is the Cinderella story.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think that there's, relationships are great. We want relationships, but we really want to feel our cup and our pockets are full with or without the relationship, or we're starting to fall into the fairy tale syndrome. One day my prince will come and then I will be okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's the then I will be happy.
Yeah.
I was single for many years, and I never thought I would meet anybody. And I said, well, I better be happy, especially for my daughter, and I could still have a very happy, fulfilling life. And if I meet someone, that's great. But I really never thought I would meet anybody.
So you didn't really believe in fairy
And then I
tales.
suckered somebody in. Poor guy.
Oh, come on now. Erwin's a lucky guy.
Because you didn't believe in the fairy tale and your pockets were full, your relationship started right away on a very, very healthy
Yeah, but I
footing.
was alone for many, many years because
And
I
you
met
were
a
good.
lot of men that were intimidated. Oh, you have your own business. Oh, you own your own home. Oh, they don't like that either, right?
Right.
So they buy into
Yeah.
the story,
Yeah,
to
a little
the
bit, a
fairy
little
tale.
bit. They
Then
do,
they
a
want to
little bit.
be the one who comes to rescue you.
Well,
Yes.
we noticed in the book when we were studying fairy tales that the women in power are witches.
Yeah,
That's a
true.
problem. That's a
And
problem.
good business women are bitches.
Well, apparently.
Witches and bitches.
Yeah,
Not
rhymes.
Not good. Or you're damsel in distress and you possibly fall into the victim.
Right.
That's
those are
so
the
unfair, right?
that's a
when you see
problem.
powerful
Yeah.
women, strong women who own their business, how come they're looked at as she's a ball breaker? She's a man-hating feminist, or
Right, right.
you get called these. How do we even get to that point?
Well, the fairy tales did socialize that way.
Right.
There is some socialization that goes on.
And
But the
I
new
think
fairy
women
tale,
are
the
as
new
guilty
stories
about
today,
it than men
though,
are.
are the women
yeah.
are the because I don't have young kids, but are the female characters still
Oh,
damsels
Paper
in
Bag
distress?
Princess. Are you kidding? It's like one of the best ones,
Oh,
right?
that's a great one.
And I love how that one ends.
Yep.
How?
Oh, it was a good
She-
one.
He. Oh my God! Now you're putting me on the spot. The long and short.
That's a Robert Munch.
Well,
The
She-
long and
yes.
short of it is that it ends with she has nothing left but a paper. She's wearing a paper bag and she basically like gives him the finger. She's like, "Up yours, I'm okay. I'm
'Cause
on
he
my own.
said
Too bad for you."
The
kind of
dragon
thing.
came and burnt whatever, and all
right.
she had left to wear was this. And he said, "Well, you can't be a princess wearing that." And she said, "Okay, ciao, so long." I read that
Talk
to my
about
daughter every
female
night.
empowerment.
It's really
I
a
love
twist
it.
on the
Yeah,
classic.
it was a
Yeah.
great story. Yes.
And I think our fairy tales need to change.
Have
do.
they though? I don't know. Have they?
Well,
Like the
I thi-
stories. You have a young daughter. Do you that has the
Well,
stories?
I think there are
Though
new
with
stories.
Disney movies.
But I think even adult movies still have. Let's look
that's
at Pretty Woman. The man's climbing through the window,
Save
and
the
all is
woman.
well.
Right.
All is well. Again, we like love, but we definitely want women to start off with a position of feeling that they're enough. They are enough. And having a relationship, bonus. Everything else, bonus. But you're enough.
Amen.
Amen to that.
I like amen.
Praise the Lord. I like it. I like it.
514-790-0800. The women are in studio, Maya, Danya, and Sandra. And Sandra Reich, along with her co-author, Métis Gomez, wrote a book called Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. The launch is next week. There's a whole special thing happening, though, right? There's like, we can make help make this book a bestseller real fast.
Yes. On March 26th, two options. You're more than welcome to give us a call and join us at the launch party. And Dr. Laurie will be there talking about women's issues. It will be an amazing day. So we have a beautiful lunch and lots of prizes. And if you can't make it, you can purchase the book online at Amazon.com between 11:30 and 1:30. And we also have prizes for you if you just send us your sales receipt.
So you have to buy it, though, between 11:30 and 1:30.
Yes, and it has to be Amazon.com, not .ca. We
Okay.
have it a special price that day of $10 US.
What's for
wow.
lunch?
Let's
Listen,
get down to the important
Let's get
thing.
done. Right.
Apparently, the lunch is delicious.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, and tons and lots of prizes.
And calorie free, by the way, Daniel. Obviously.
So we can all
Lunch
look
is
at it.
lunch is great. The book's only $10, but remember, put it in your
Dr. Laurie.
calendar. I'll be there talking, but put it in your calendar. March 26th, anytime between 11:30 and 1:30.
We'll say where it is.
Go to you don't even have to just go to Amazon.com, right? Purchase the book, keep your receipt, and then you can get a prize after.
Danya means the party, though.
Oh,
I
but
do
the
want-
party's at
lunch.
the Brunswick Medical Center.
Yes, they need to call us to confirm, though, if they want to RSVP 514-777-4530.
Excellent. We'll be talking more about this throughout
Sounds
the
good.
hour as well. You're listening to The Passion View here on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
The Passion View tonight on the program. My girlfriends are in studio. Maya,
And
Danya,
dancing.
and dancing, and Sandra. We should be recording this with our cameras and posting it.
She's
like,
trying
oh
to get
my
a gig.
This is what I grew up on.
I think she's trying
Me
to
and
get
Cindy,
a gig.
baby, we go back.
That's how young you are. Maya happens to be the youngest of us all.
I've hit a new
By the way.
milestone, so I'm old in in comparison.
Hold on
Oh,
a second.
please.
Hold on
I'm
a
not
second.
liking where this is going.
Please,
I'm
I'm
about
the
to get in
oldest one
trouble.
here, so.
All right, old ladies,
What
take
are
it
you,
easy.
40?
I'm
young
40.
40. All right,
I'm
so
almost
we're all-
41.
Oh my goodness.
Very serious.
I almost don't remember that.
Me neither.
Right.
Oh, the Passion View. We have fun talking about all different kinds of topics and whatever anybody else wants to discuss here on the air, whether you're a guy wanting to know a female perspective on some issue or a woman wanting to join the discussion. Just, tell us what you think. We're talking about female empowerment, which is the topic of Sandra's book that's coming out next week.
Yeah.
Next week, March 26th. So if
Yay,
the book is
Sandra.
Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman, we can all help empower the book by buying it. It's only $10, so that's really cheap. We can all buy it at the exact same time, and it pushes the book into bestseller status. Is that true for any book on Amazon? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Really?
There's a time, an amount of time, if you reach enough people that it can get there, possibly, not for sure.
Okay.
And the advantage in this situation is the book really is about when women have fallen into traps, and we'd like to reach as many women as possible.
Right.
So that's our goal.
You better help me make mine a bestseller then.
You better believe it. I certainly will.
I'm feeling inspired to write a book.
You should write a book.
Why not? One of the
You have what to say.
Yes,
Plenty to say, in fact.
Sandra, did yours have intimate pictures of women's privates over the age of 50?
Okay, Maya.
How did you
are
know?
Are you telling too much about my book? Let it be a surprise.
Oh, I'm kind of excited. things to look forward to.
Yes, my book is it's an illustrated book, which will make it interesting.
And by illustration, you don't mean drawings.
I don't know real people doing real things, but
Oh.
very, very tasteful. It's
Oh,
done
boy.
very, very tasteful, and that's what's so different about it is that it's a how-to book that actually shows you
How
That is
to.
so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
so words and
Seriously.
pictures.
Work
So
well
that
together.
anyway, but that's not the book we're talking
Anything
about tonight.
color in? No, nothing.
We are
to color?
talking about. Oh, here's interesting. Somebody wrote about. Anybody here see Hillary Clinton?
No, but I
No, I
heard all
would've
about it. It was
loved
last
to.
night.
Well, somebody
Right?
just wrote in. I'd love to. I'll just share this with our listeners. This morning in Tommy Sternmacher's show, they were talking about Hillary Clinton's speech at the
Oh, I
Chamber of
missed it.
Commerce, and Tommy asked a very simple question to his co-host: do you find Hillary Clinton kind? To my delight, his co-host, who happened to be a woman, just replied that it doesn't matter if she's kind or not. She basically said that Hillary Clinton is playing the political game as well or maybe even better than most men.
Yep.
I love Tommy, but what I think was behind that question was a discomfort that a lot of men feel when a powerful woman doesn't seem to display vulnerability. Wow, I like what this woman is saying. As if men always want to see a mother or a potential mate in a woman, which leads them to look for qualities they see as feminine, like kind, loving, etc. She brings up a really good point, and I'll tell
Yes.
you why. Like Daniel, you were talking about when you were single, it was men were intimidated. I know a lot of powerful women who are single in their 40s who have a tough time, and they say that they find that a lot of the men that they end up meeting do feel intimidated, that there's something about it that that turns them off.
Because they're caretakers. We're caregivers. They're caretakers. They like to take care. They like that little neediness. They like when a woman needs them. And their perception of a woman like a Hillary Clinton, the woman doesn't need them, right?
Right. Well, right. She could be fine
She
just
doesn't
on
need
her
him.
own.
What
right.
am I supposed to do with a woman who doesn't need me?
Well, that I wonder how guys feel
It's a
about
whole
this.
role
I wonder,
reversal thing, too.
Yeah.
but do people have this in their consciousness? Do you think guys stop to think about that for a minute if we ask them the question?
It's funny because in one way, men really love the idea of a woman really taking care of them, but can easily flip into a mother-son role, which becomes very not sexy. So there's sometimes a bit of a mixed message coming. Come take care of me, but if you take care of me too much, you're not so sexy to me.
Right. If
So
you
we-
mother me, if you get to the point where you're mothering me, that I can't. That I don't find that sexy.
No.
Right.
No,
But why
we
is
get
it when a
mixed
man
message.
takes care of a woman, we don't call it fathering her?
No.
Isn't
No.
that interesting?
It
Why
is
is
very
that?
interesting.
Because
The-
men are supposed to take care of women
Yeah.
in society.
But my
right?
point is that mother has been, the word mother, it's a noun now. right? To mother
Mothering, to
someone,
mother someone,
isn't some actually to nurture and care for. There is such a direct correlation between the notion of mother and the notion of caregiver.
But I think women are more naturally nurturing than a man is.
For sure.
So that relation,
And I think that's the discomfort between that men or anybody, even women, have with people like a Hillary Clinton, because the natural inclination is, well, if she's not nurturing and mothering, there must be something wrong with her.
Right. Interesting. We'll continue this discussion and more coming up next here on Passion.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
The Passion View tonight, my God, the discussions keep going. We don't shut up, do we?
No,
On air,
ever, no.
off air, it like just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like trying to, okay, girls, save it for the air. You can talk about this on the air. It's okay. It's okay.
That's why we need a second show.
My
There you go.
goodness. Or a
That's the solution.
mediator. We need a guy in here to mediate or what?
No.
We'll rip it to shreds.
No.
We'll rip him to shreds, yeah. Ryan will be very
Only
happy
a
about
kind
that.
guy.
Can I just say the thing
Yeah.
that I
Ask
started
if
to
he's
say is
kind.
that I don't think, is what we said off air, I don't think that Tommy, God bless him, I like to listen to him, but I don't think for a second that if it was a man who had spoken the night before at Palais des Congrès, he would have turned to his panel and said, so what do you think? Do you think that he's kind? Like, who would ask that kind of question?
I don't think a
about-
woman
of
would
man?
ever think. No one would ever think that of a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar
But no one would
company.
think to
We
ask
don't-
it of
yeah.
a man.
We
Only
don't-
of a man, though.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't think about traits. Right. Exactly.
And it's not about Tommy. It's true. If it was a woman
None of us would
managing the
yeah.
panel, they wouldn't have asked the question either. But the Hillary's a woman, so
Yeah.
Liam
standards.
says gender bias toward empowered women may only be ubiquitous among the less educated. Arlene Dickinson and Hillary Clinton among well-read males may be simple jealousy. Well, that's one
That's
way of
interesting.
looking at
That's
it. We can
very
think about that.
think the men are jealous of
Yeah.
them. Is that what he's saying?
Mm-hmm. If you have any thoughts about this, and what do you think the word empowered woman means? Is that a word you would use? Is that something you think should be part of our vocabulary? I mean, it is part of our vocabulary today. What do you think it is? How would you define it? 519-0800. You can text at 514-800. If you're calling long distance, it's 1-800-491-CJAD. More Passion View here on the other side of the news on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Okay, what's with this disco music, Ryan? Seriously? You're doing it just to see Maya dance and just to hear her sing. I know it.
I'm doing all songs
If you
that have to do
want,
with girls.
we can get together at 11 and I can dance and sing for you then. I mean, listen.
Sure.
All right.
Now, there's an offer.
Okay,
Then how am I
Ryan,
gonna
go
get home?
away. It's not for you.
Taxi.
Sorry, Ryan. Just kidding.
I'm sorry.
All right, so here we go. The girls are in studio, as you can tell. My girlfriends are here, Maya, Danya, and Sandra. And Sandra's here. She's here. We're celebrating Sandra tonight. Sandra Reich, who wrote a book. It's coming out next week. It's Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. You are invited to help women by purchasing the book. Like it just, we make this book a bestseller, and I want everybody involved, all our friends, all our listeners, between 11:30 and 1:30 p.m. on March 26th. You purchase the book through Amazon.com, and we can help make this a bestseller quick. There's a whole system. I don't know how it all works, but apparently it works. So according to Sandra, we can do it. We can do it.
We can reach women.
Let's try. We want to reach as many women as possible. And the book is at a very special price of $10 plus
that day.
just between that time and that time, right?
Well, the whole day the book will be $10.
Okay, but between
Yeah,
that
that's
time,
the time
but
we
if
want.
you buy between that time, you get a prize from you guys.
Lots of prizes.
Okay, so
actually.
there's prizes to give away. There's a chance to, I think, win a trip.
ticket to Florida.
And, right. So all kinds of things to happen. So put that in your calendars, women and men, too. Why not? You can buy it for your women. March 26th between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Amazon.com. Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. And this is what we're talking about tonight in terms of empowered woman. What does that word mean to you? What does it even mean to be an empowered woman? How does all of this impact us, our relationships, our sexuality even? In fact, here's a great question. Of the powerful women on your panel, which take it as a compliment, ladies, how many of them takes the lead when it comes to sex?
I think we started to talk about this, and I think
we all did.
we talked about whether we take the lead or not, but we also arrived at the fact that part of being empowered is having the choice.
To take or not to take.
That's right.
Right.
To take or not to take?
Yes.
And I think,
you
you
like
know,
to take?
It goes all the way back to Shakespeare. Yeah.
but speaking for all of us here, I think it's you know, it doesn't have to be equal all the time, but it's about
No.
if I make the choice, I feel
can
fine
take.
doing it. I feel fine asking for, doing whatever. So
Yes.
taking the lead in that case. But you know, I often have this conversation with women who come in for sexual issues and what have you, and they often talk to me about feeling like they have to, or they feel they have to give sex. Like that in their head, they're giving something, right? It's like, oh God, you know, he's like complaining again. Here I have to give him sex. And I teach them about sex is good for us. It makes us feel good. Why aren't you taking sex?
Yeah.
Why is it just about you giving to someone else, that this is something you have to do for someone else? You can do this for yourself.
And the moment you say you're giving it, like I'm giving it to someone else, you're falling a little bit into the martyr and starting
Yeah.
to feel bitter about it, which is not sexy.
No, and that doesn't belong in the bedroom.
No.
That does not belong in the bedroom. So we need to get away from this is something I need to give it just in order to keep my guy happy, let's just say, or keep or what for whatever reason that you feel that pressure that it's something I give to somebody else, rather and look at it more as this is something we share,
Yeah.
and it's something I can also take,
Yeah.
you know, that I can also ask for and say, hey, this feels good for me, so you know what, I want.
Yes.
You make me feel good.
Yes. But you have
So-
to know you want, which comes back to women knowing what they want and what they need.
So what's the problem with that?
Women are very good at knowing what other people want and need. They're not always so good at knowing what they want and need.
So how do we get to teach women what it is that how to look for what they need and what they want? Let's
Yeah.
start with that. What do we do?
Well, I think we have to start with internal dialogue. What are you feeling? What do you need? You have to ask yourself that. And as mothers and sisters and daughters, we often have other responsibilities that we have to be considering what's going on for other people around us. But we have to stop and also ask ourselves, what do I need right now? It's an important question, and it doesn't come natural to women. It comes quite naturally to men, by the way.
Does it?
Oh, yeah. They're quite good at that, what they want and they need. Very good.
And we were talking about that last month on The View. We were talking about the things that we do for ourselves and
Yes.
how much do we all take care of ourselves in terms of everything else that we do. Sandra, you always talk about filling your pockets first, and that's part of doing things for oneself. Another texter says, I guess, luckily, I have a hard time with the term empowered women. Was raised in an environment where women and men are equal on all levels and have brought that with me in my adult life. Empowered man or empowered woman, both get her done. I think, well, that's a good point, too, depending on where you grew up, right? If you grew up in a Cinderella-like, in a fairy tale-like story where those were the expectations, where you often heard things from mom or dad, you know, one day you'll get married and, you know, you'll marry a wonderful man and your prince will come and you're only good, you've only accomplished everything in life once you get married. If you have that in your head and you grew up with that, then inevitably you don't have that
See,
empowerment.
I didn't grow up with that. That was never an issue for me, or never thought
Well,
about
that's
that.
well, this is
My
the
mother
comparison,
was very
right?
independent, totally not like that.
Right.
So I guess that's why I wasn't like that.
Right.
Well, exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Great message.
Yeah.
So this texter obviously also got the same message. No,
Wonderful.
you know what? The equal is equal, and this is it. There's no one over the other.
But look how strong the mother is in the family, because my father was totally the opposite.
How is
It was because when I got divorced and I was single, it didn't matter that I was running the business and I was a single mother and I was traveling the world and I had all these accomplishments. I wasn't married. It was terrible. And so my father was the total opposite, where my mother was like so independent, only got married later in life, ran the business with my father, like very, you know,
Empowered
self-confident.
herself, right.
Yes. And my father was the total opposite. So it just goes to show you that as a mother, you're the strength in the family, and you have so much influence on the family, right?
I think the
You
message.
do.
Sure, you do.
Yeah,
and
you do
you
as a
also spend
mother.
more time with the kids
Yes.
usually, and you have more of
Yeah.
that influence.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know if any feel the same way, but
Well, my mother was a lot along those lines also. Very I never had this idea. In fact, anytime there was something related to requiring a man in order to find happiness, or she used to say jokingly say to me when I decided I wanted an expensive something or other as a kid, she'd say, "I hope you marry rich." Okay, so that was the extreme to her making a joke about that.
Right.
But besides that, she would say to me, "You better make your way. You better." My mother also was, divorced when I was very, very young, and came out of it, I think, not traumatized, but like sort of scathed enough that she understood that as a woman, her daughter better make her own way, because you never know what life, like you could plan. And my mother was married. She met him at 16. They were married at 19. They had my brother at 20. So she was a kid for all intents and purposes. And she probably did. She definitely grew up in this notion that a woman's going to find a man. And, there's this reliability on a man and all that stuff. So by the time she got out of that divorce and was raising me, and together with my stepfather, like absolutely, it was very clear that women are independent. We're going to make our own way. She was, I would say, even feminist, maybe too much so, but there was no question. There was no question that if I was going to find success, it was going to be because I found it.
Right. It's interesting because I grew up in a traditional home, in a very traditional home, but with the message always, don't do as I do. Don't accept it. In other words, look, see me, I have, your father can't cook and he can't do any of the other stuff. Said, you don't do what I did. You find somebody who cooks and who can do just as much, who can clean like you and cook like you and do all of that. So she instilled in us that you should be looking for that equality, even though it wasn't shown. And my father's great in many other ways, but that part, so, and my mother worked outside the home too. She did everything. I learned that you could do it all because I saw her do it all.
Can I just say something about doing it all? Do a quick second?
Yeah,
So I read the Sheryl Sandberg book, Lean In, and the biggest takeaway that I had from it, and I know there's issues in it that maybe are controversial, but for me, the biggest takeaway was that having it all doesn't have to be this notion of balance. It doesn't actually exist. The kind of balance we're all we have to make choices.
Yes.
And we don't have to apologize. When we make those choices, we needn't apologize for what those choices are.
Right.
So if we want to have a career, that's okay. If that's what we want,
Right.
not to do it for someone else. And if we want to stay home with our children,
That's perfectly
then that's
fine, too.
perfectly fine too. If that's what we choose, and I guess really that's your point about empowerment, right? That it's about having the liberty to make your choices and standing by them and feeling good about them and
being present when you're within
whatever
that
choice you
whatever
made.
the choice is.
It's
So
about
when you're at
presence, yeah.
work, you're not feeling guilty. You're not with
Right.
your
It's
kids,
that
and
stupid
vice
guilt.
versa. And
Guilt,
it's not
guilt.
and it's not about balance, because I don't think balance.
I don't think it exists.
No?
It changes all the time. Balance changes all the time.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
And
Your balance does change all the
Happy
time.
mother, child sees happy mother.
Right.
Child gives especially female child permission to live the life that they want to live.
Yes.
Instead of a sort of harried, bitter, self-sacrificing woman.
Woe is me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
victim.
they want.
The victim,
again,
very dangerous.
the stories we hear growing up, the stories we see, are these fairy tale stories that we're talking about. You're listening to Passion, the Passion View, in fact, right here on CJD 800.
Now an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
If you're out there right now, just be aware on the Lorenzo.
100.
We like the music, eh? I know. Good one, Ryan. 514-790-0800 or text us at 514-800. We're talking. It's a Passion View tonight, so my girlfriends are in studio. They join me every month. Sometimes we rotate, but Maya, Danya are usually here, and Sandra is here now. Sandra Reich just co-authored a book which is coming out next week. Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. So, of course, we're taking the opportunity to discuss empowerment in women. Some really interesting text here. Listen to this, guys. I just want to pinpoint the hypocrisy of the whole thing. I won't name names again, but one of CJAD's male contributors said a few days ago, after PKP announced his candidacy, that PKP looked like a real leader compared to Marois, and it bothered me so much. His candidacy has done nothing but harm the PQ so far, but the fact that he's a tall, rich, somewhat good-looking man, a lot of men feel like he's someone they want to follow, regardless of the fact that he has no knowledge of politics whatsoever. And by the way, one must look at PKP's lockout record to see that this is not a kind man. Men care about kindness with women, but with so that comes back to Maya's point.
Men don't
do
care
we
about
don't
kindness
ask?
in business, period.
Right.
They don't bring emotion into business. And I really learned that having a male business partner. They do not bring emotion into business.
But women do. And it doesn't
women do,
cost
and it's
them
a
Women
big
bring
problem.
emotion
It
to
does.
everything. Women
And
have
it's a
brought
big
emotion to
problem.
everything.
You have
Yes,
to
it is.
learn not to do it
Huge
in business. So
Huge.
being kind has nothing to do with business. And what he did with the unions, I suppose, was purely a business decision, numbers and business decision, and that's it.
Right.
He was not thinking about the families and the effects
Of course,
of the
of
lockout.
course. Here's a great text. My mother is a Protestant minister. Everyone who didn't know them would assume that my father was the minister. My father would always answer, I'm not the minister, I'm the minister's wife. I consider myself lucky to have been raised by such an empowered woman. And she's nice, too. I love
Yay.
it. You know what that reminds me of? Every time I get mail that's addressed to like a Dr. Betito, they will assume that my husband is the doctor.
Oh, God.
Right? One of us is the doctor, but they always put the DR in front of his name.
Yeah.
So, but
Not
technically it should be
mine.
It's so
Mr. and
funny.
Doctor, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, technically,
Doctor
it's
and
Mr.
Mr.
and Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Mr.
We'll
and
have to
Doctor.
put the men
Technically,
first.
if you're going
Yeah.
if you're going to do the you put
Yeah.
the male first. But isn't that interesting that
It's
they
interesting.
always do the other way around?
I once
Always.
got a
Doctor
letter
and Mrs.
Yeah.
when I had my wallet company. I got a letter from somebody criticizing our wallets, and of course, since to the president of the company, which I was at the time, and of course, you don't know anything about what women's needs are. This whole letter, right? So,
Really?
Did you reply to that?
I did. And I
With a
told
picture
her,
of your
and I
boobs or
sent
like-
her free wallets, and I told her that I was a woman and proudly running this company, and that any suggestion she had, and I sent her a few wallets.
Nice.
I
That's
also-
good
I was
business.
very kind president.
That's right. Clearly.
And I think in that text, the concept of being empowered and nice,
Yeah.
they're not mutually exclusive. You
No,
can be
of course
empowered and very nice,
Exactly.
actually.
Of course.
As a matter of fact,
Exactly.
you might be able to be nicer because the pockets are full, and you can give a lot more when your pockets are full.
Well, that's the thing is when we don't feel good, we tend to put down others.
That's right.
When we
Right.
feel good
We need
about
to.
ourselves,
Yeah.
Then
we're
we
good
see
to
the
others.
positive.
We see the positive in others. We pick up the positive in others, and we love being around people, and those people like being around us. So it works. You guys are having a little
Yeah, we're just sending each other
mime
little,
thing.
love messages.
little love
Here's
messages.
here's another texter. It says, Dr. Laurie, do you find yourself more empowered than most women because of your choice in psychology to deal with sexual issues when for some people it is a hush-hush topic? I don't think I would consider myself more empowered. All my girlfriends that are all here, I would say are as empowered as me. I'm not more than them just because I can talk about sex. In fact, they can talk about sex as much as I can talk about sex.
We just don't get paid for it.
You just don't get that. Good one. That's exactly it. So there you go. I don't think that it has that I feel that I am more so just because I deal with a taboo
Topic.
topic. I do feel as I would consider myself an empowered woman. I think I do what I like. I do what I want. I'm
And you're comfortable.
and
in your
I'm
skin.
comfortable in it, and I'm kind about it. I don't think that I'm not. That I'm not. I'm kind. I'm not because there's always that image of the woman who does that as the ball buster.
Yes.
And I have heard that so
Yes.
many times that it bugs me. Like
Yes.
it's why you can't have both. You
But
can't
there
be
is something
both.
to be said about the fact that what you do, and ideally gives other women the tools to take charge of their own lives,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful thing. I mean, and
Well,
somebody works at IBM, they don't have that same gift to share to the world that you do.
Well, then
that's a great thing.
That's a gift that I've been given. Luckily for me, that like having the my show, for example, and having that reach to me is a gift, and I feel very privileged to be here. I feel very privileged to be able to talk to people. We don't often get the opportunity to talk to that many people at the same time. So to me, that is a gift to me, and I do take it very seriously because I feel privileged and honored to have this position. I really do. So it's never something I'll take for granted. It's always something that I'm lucky if I can empower others,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's my goal, really, is if I can do that, then wonderful. You're going to like what this texter says. Ooh, got a nasty text for us ladies coming up here next on Passion.
Good news, Auberge des Galants, 40 minutes west of Montreal, is reopened. 40 new pet-friendly rooms, a view of the forest, and deer feeding.
You ladies sound like entitled, hypocritical nags with princess syndrome.
Oof.
What's the point?
Yeah. But entitled. I earned where I am. I earned like somewhere. I do feel like I'm not over entitled. Isn't there a difference?
Oh,
No,
yes.
you worked hard and you earned where you are. What's wrong with that?
Entitled is actually healthy in males or females. Over entitled is a problem. So being entitled is not an insult.
And why are we hypocritical nags? And where are we princesses? Do tell. I think we all work
Well,
hard.
what's your definition of a princess? Because
Okay,
I
shut
could
up, you.
fall into that.
Would this be said if it was 4 men having this discussion?
No.
Of course not.
No. This would not be said.
But
No.
we are kind.
But we're kind. I was just going to say that. We're very kind.
Man, here's just one last text before we go. I'm an educated woman, and I sometimes wonder if we're not going against our natural instincts. I was listening to Wendy Walsh, and she was explaining that we're naturally interested in men who are more successful than us, and that as women become more educated than men, we don't want to settle for some blue-collar worker. She coined it the George Clooney effect, which I find interesting. An interesting perspective. Anyway, we'll have to talk about this another time. We'll have to get the ladies back. Thank you, Sandra, Dania, Maya. And Sandra, about the book, can you just throw out the email?
The email?
Or the website.
Website is empoweredwomenworkshops.com, or call us at 514-777-4530 for more information.
Right, you'll find out more
Good luck,
information about the
Sandra.
book launch and
Thank
such.
you. Thanks, guys.
Maya, Dania, thank you very much. Thanks to Ryan Ryder in Master Control, and to all of you for tuning in and participating in the program. News coming up next, followed by the CJD Comedy Show. Have a great rest of the night. And please remember, life is short, so do take the time to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.